talking again about the photo that was released in the appendix to the DOJ filing. And he writes, there seems to be some confusion as to the picture where documents were sloppily thrown on the floor and then released photographically for the world to see, as if that's what the FBI found when they broke into my home. Wrong. They took them out of cartons and spread them around the carpet, making it look like a big fine for them. They dropped them, not me, very deceiving. And remember, we could have no representative, including lawyers, present during the raid. They were told to wait outside. They took them out of cartons, he says, which is very different than what he had been saying, which is they planted it.
Donald Trump is still truthing, and it's not working out very well for him. The only person who doesn't know that is Donald Trump. And as they were outlining this on CNN, as you can see there, they were talking about him, talking about those cartons of materials. Now, this is after the FBI didn't release those photos that everyone was talking about this week of those classified, supremely classified documents strewn over the floor to talk about what they discovered in that second search of his Mar-a-Lago home. Now, CNN's Norma Eisen was on that panel. They're talking about this, and he explained what that truth that Trump put out just did to his lies.
John, one of the key issues in this case, we have some evidence on this. It's really the last key issue that will determine whether or not Donald Trump is charged, is his personal knowledge that these classified documents were where they were. And there's also very disturbing allegations in the government's filing yesterday about the way the documents were moved after they were requested by the government. You've got to prove Donald Trump's intent. Well, guess what? He just provided, by admitting that he knew they were in the cartons, he just provided the government with more proof that yes, he was involved in this. So it's a mosaic. You put together all the evidence. That's another piece of evidence. Incompetence.
Incompetence. It's the perfect term to describe him. Now, by the way, this is one of those things we've heard. The hardest thing that it is to prove is someone's intent, especially when it's someone like a former president. Their intent in having those documents, did they really mean to have them there? Because you have to get into their brain. That's the hardest thing for these folks to do as they're looking to prosecute.
Right.
Except when the person tells you what's in their brain, what was there, what they knew was there, and where they knew it was, which Donald Trump for some reason keeps effing doing. So continue. Let's go to some of the things from the New York Times talking about how, at least even with that picture, how it was put together and the reasons why the pushback makes no sense as well. Files or documents are not tossed around randomly, even though they might appear that way. They're usually splayed out so they can be separately identified by their markings. The ruler seen in the image is to give a sense of their size in relation to other objects. That's what the New York Times then reported about that photo that a bunch of conservatives are now upset about at the behest of Donald Trump, to say it was staged. If you've seen that term floating around, that's what they're now using it for. Now, other legal experts are also surprised at this. They're like, this is a little bit too easy. Reno Mariatti over on Twitter said, Trump's admission that the classified material was in cartons at his residence is evidence of his guilt. It'd be like a defendant taking issue with an FBI photo showing bricks of cocaine on the floor of his residence instead of in cartons. It admits possession. Mehdi Hassan says, never forget, Trump's defense is that he declassified documents that were planted. But when you say, those were in cartons in my desk and in my closet and in my bathroom, that means that you knew that they were there. There's one more. Yeah, go.
Oh no, this is a guy who was excited about, reintroducing the so-called perp walk, right? Like, don't let them cover their face, let them show. Like, for someone who gleefully loves to pursue, someone who does a nonviolent drug crime, know what happens when evidence is found. It is laid out. We've seen the police do that with things like baby formula and other like diapers, right? To say nothing of obviously big drug busts, but that's what happens. They lay them out there, and it's insane to me that he keeps doing this, because this whole week I've been like, JR, the one thing he's got going for him after that affidavit got released was that word willful. Did he willfully conceal this? Did he knowingly take those documents? And as long as his lawyers can prove that that word still stands, then he can get off. And now he just imploded that they weren't there. No, they were behind the dresser. Oops, like it's a Simpsons scene. There's a scene where Cletus is on television and they're like, and where do you keep the whores? And he goes, round back. Oops, like that is this scene. That is this.
Yet an entire political party is following that guy and his lead. And every time they defend him and put their neck out on the line for him, he goes and cuts it off because he's too busy thinking about himself and thinking he's this big genius. He's the smartest guy ever. There's part two of this ridiculousness because as he's now whittled his way down to like 2 attorneys that are willing to work with him, one being a former conservative news outlet anchor, what they're now doing is in their document, in their legal briefings, talking about this, pushing back on it. They're now changing the narrative on the classified versus declassified line here. Let's go to some details with that as well. Because Trump's team argued in their Wednesday night filing that the National Archives should have expected to find classified material among the documents Trump delivered in January from Mar-a-Lago because they were presidential records. They should expect these things to be classified. Don't forget that part. There's a clear acknowledgement that he was in possession of classified material and a refutation of the argument he declassified everything. As you've been hearing, they kept saying, we declassified it. I had a running declassification order. As soon as I said it was declassified, that's my process. Was it classified or was it declassified? Because your legal team just said that they should have expected classified information. If they expected classified information, you shouldn't have had it. Oh, I'm sorry, it was declassified. Wait, I'm sorry, no, it was planted. No, wait, I'm sorry, it was Antifa.
When in doubt.
When in doubt, go to Antifa. The best part about this, Francesca, and I think you may have even touched on it a little bit, and many people said it back in 2018 because he was thinking Hillary Clinton would go down for it. He also made it a felony offense. Let's check that out. Section 302, increased penalty for unauthorized removal and retention of classified documents or material was signed by Donald Trump to heighten the punishment for doing exactly what it looks like he's been doing. Good job. Good job.
Just a little boing. This is like a Thursday cherry. I love this show. I love the watch because you just put a little cherry on top of stories like that.
Just put it on. All we need is the straw. Maybe you can sip it through his gel cell.